My name is Mateo Grisdale.
So my name is Ethan Pappenheim.
My name is Elisa Jacob.
My name is Elmer Riegel. I just didn't feel that I wanted to just sit down and die. I thought, man, there's lots to do here. I'd like to still participate and do things. And I've always been very interested in liturgical music and church music. And so I thought, you know what? I was given an invite if I'd consider coming to work with build up an orchestra at this particular church. So I thought, why not?
Something that really drove me into music was being able to perform. When I was young, I started drum lessons. Not until later I took it seriously. Around 15, my drum teacher offered me a position to play at a church. And I felt in that moment that I wasn't ready, but I knew that if I didn't take the opportunity then, it would have never happened.
My desire to create is actually just simply birthed out of necessity. When I was going through some really tough times as a teenager, and I didn't really have a voice and I didn't have a way to express, even as a little kid. And I started to discover that playing the piano was an avenue for me to express what was going on inside of me without having to use any words.
First spark that connected me to music, I'll probably say, it was just one day in my car driving, listening to music, and then all of a sudden I was like, I kind of like this. Like, I wanted to try it for myself, and actually I just wanted to try it out as like a hobby, kind of.
You know what's interesting about talking about highs and lows as an artist is actually, it's just the highs and lows of life in general.
I think biggest reason why I chose music, just committing to music, is just because I can do whatever I want with it. Like, if I feel, or however I feel, I just go with it. And then there's no guidelines really to it. You just pick a song, make some lyrics, freestyle.
I like to keep high expectations for myself. I think that anything really is attainable if you put in that work and you're disciplined and you almost, anything is possible, especially with God. So, for myself, I see myself as, I want to continue performing, definitely making money. Right now, I don't make money, so hopefully, if anybody wants to hire me, they can.
The business side is very important. If you don't get the business side down, you're not gonna be successful. I'm gonna be honest, right? You gotta get people to listen to your music, and by doing that, you have to have marketing skills. If you don't have marketing skills, people are not gonna know you, and you're not gonna make it. That's straight up.
To be in the music industry, you have to understand a little bit about business. And truthfully, when you're playing music, you spend way more time hanging out with people than you do actually on stage playing your instrument. What do I do when I receive criticism? First of all, nobody likes that. I don't like it. But it is a way toward growth. And when people have identified something about who I am in a scenario, it's usually not that personal. It's usually about how I can alter something that I'm doing for the bigger picture.
The thing of like what other people think, you gotta think of your parents, your peers, lots of hate coming towards you. And so you just gotta overcome what other people think.
You're always going to get criticism, obviously, because there's people who are negative, and there's people who are envious of what you do, there may be setbacks. There may be times when, for example, your budget may no longer sustain what you're doing.
Definitely, sometimes I have doubts about, making money. That's a big thing. Is like a lot of the musicians I know have day jobs or they work as engineers, electricians and stuff.
You know, I am a female in a pretty male-dominated industry, and so I have experienced a bunch of different kinds of challenges, and lots of them have had to do with sexism. But honestly, even beyond that, one of the things that I was thinking about as far as a real challenge has been actually my physical body and the way I showed up in this planet and how it doesn't necessarily match the instrument I chose. So the bass guitar is a large instrument, and I started playing when I was a little tiny kid. And so I developed scoliosis. By the time I was 17, I remember I went to the doctors and someone had told me that I needed to stop playing bass. I also refused to listen to that one person and continued to play music regardless of how my body was affected. Realized that the things that are tough about the fact that my hands are small have turned into these beautiful ways that I play my instrument. So these things that are now part of my signature style also, they were kind of birthed out of what could have been seen as maybe a deficiency or a challenge about who I am and how I showed up, but I turned them into basically the coolest thing about who I am and how I play music and the thing that sets me apart from other people.
My goal in creating music, for example, has never been to market it. That was never something that I thought of much. I was more interested in the intrinsic value of it.
I'm not for everybody, and I'm not the right choice for every single situation. The way that I play bass guitar, it doesn't work for every single kind of music.
I feel like I want to spread a lot of love. I feel like there's a lot of directions that the world wants to pull you in, but I feel that I want to keep a positive note on the world and the youth. And even for me, you know, whatever happened in my life, music has always been there. Music has always been a connector for people and friends, and I want to add to that.
There's this sort of like rhetoric in the world right now, and it's especially bright right now, where it says, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And as someone who has built an entire career around doing what I'm most passionate about and what I love, I'm calling BS on that. Here's the real truth. It's work. And it's work because sometimes I don't want to show up to my amazing job. Some days I want to stay home in my pajamas and not put makeup on, and I have to go out on stage.
A profound challenge that I've faced in terms of music, performing, producing, and all that is just being disciplined. How much are you practicing? How bad do you want it?
I know that there's people who, if you keep going and you keep grinding, you actually will make a lot of money from it.
The focus never was on me. The focus was on the people that I worked with and what we got out of them. That was the real reward for me.
My first time performing, you know, when you get in front of an audience, it's a lot different than just being in the practice room or just messing around, you know. It's like you can connect with people.
Connection actually is the thing that I strive for the most, and I think that music has really led me to that. One, with people, either the audience or my band members, and connection to myself, and then connection to something beyond, you know, that place that the music comes from.
The school that I was teaching at had a toxic environment, actually, with related to drugs and different things like that. And after being there for 2 years, one of the principals came up to me in tears and said, "I cannot tell you what an impact music has made on this school in a positive way."
How do I become the best version of myself?
Just for anybody who wants to play an instrument, I think that we spend a lot of time focusing on actually playing and learning how to play, and really great musicians, they focus on listening.
We've had many students who they have used music as a stepping stone. I said that if you can really embrace music and develop yourself to be a fine musician, there could be a very positive transfer into any kind of field.
I think that music can be really purposely used in many people's lives, not just in the lives of musicians. And I feel like there's so many different ways for us to be able to access the beauty of music, whether we make playlists, whether we play instruments. We can find a voice in it. We can find a place to have emotions. And I feel really grateful that I get to be a part of creating spaces where people can feel things.
I had a very close friend who was just graduating out of high school and going to university. About 3 weeks after he went to college, he came back for one weekend to the city that we were at, and he and his sister and a friend were in a car, and they got into a serious accident, and all three of them died. And that really made me to think about the brevity of life, and that you can't always guarantee what's going to happen. And so it made me a lot more serious about value of doing something worthwhile with yourself while you have this gift of being here.